This is Math Minutes with Majan Minds, where we are reviewing skills you need to know to find success in grade 12. Today's video is partial fractions number 3. Express this guy as a sum of partial fractions. Now, at the outset here, I really need to know what's going on with this piece right here. It's possible in a question that this piece could be he is a quadratic, but he could be an irreducible quadratic. If he's not an irreducible quadratic, then I should be able to factorize him. So let's just see if we can factorize this guy. In fact, we can. He is a very nice factorizable one. In fact, I need two numbers that multiply to give me 1 and add to give me 2. Well, those two numbers are 1 and 1. And that means this one can be written as x plus 1 squared, and he is a perfect square. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to rewrite this guy as 5x over x plus 1 quantity squared x minus 2. So because of this x plus 1 squared, we are in the repeated linear factor category. So when I try to write this as a partial fraction, I'm going to do a over x plus 1 plus b over, now this is the part that's a little bit different from what we've been doing, x plus 1 squared, and plus c over this other guy, which is x minus 2. So now from here we follow the procedure we've been doing in all the other videos. We're just going to multiply both sides by our denominator over here, which is x plus 1 squared and x minus 2. Same thing over here, x plus 1 squared and x minus 2. Let's not get that confused with this. So then, in the process of multiplying pink by blue fraction, this pink in the top and this blue in the denominator will cancel, leaving me with 5x squared, which is equal to, I'm going to have this a term, and the a term is going to be when I take these pinks and multiply them by this yellow. Notice there are two pink x plus 1s here. This is x plus 1, x plus 1, x minus 2. One of those x plus 1s is going to cancel with this one, and I will have what left? I'll still have one x plus 1 left, and I'll have an x minus 2 left. Then we can go to the b term, which is this multiplied by that. So in this situation, I have x plus 1 squared in the denominator. That'll cancel with the x plus 1 squared, leaving me with a b and an x minus 2. And then finally, I have c. The x minus 2 here and the x minus 2 here will cancel, leaving me with c brackets x plus 1 quantity squared. All right, nice big fraction here. I'm going to use, not fraction, nice big equation. I'm going to use this equation to find out my a, my b, and my c. So where shall I begin? Okay, well, notice we have some things that could make substitution easy. We could let x equal, I'm looking right here, we could let x equal minus 1 for one of these. That'll take care of those two. We could also let x equal to 2. If you look right here, letting x equal to 2 will be a nice thing to do. And so let's start with that and see where we go, what we need to do from there. Alright, so letting x equal minus 1, that's going to be 5 brackets squared with a minus 1 plugged in there. And that's going to equal, so we're going to do some mental work here. Minus 1 in there is going to be 0, and that's going to wipe out this whole term. Minus 1 going in there is going to make this whole guy 0. So that means all that's left here is going to be the b portion with a minus 1 plugged in and then a minus 2 brackets. So just to say it again, when this went in there, all of that became 0. And when this went in there, all of that became 0 because minus 1 plus 1 is 0 and minus 1 plus 1 is 0. So what is this going to produce here? Minus 1 squared is 1 times 5 is 5. And this is going to be minus 3b. So minus 3b. That's not very nice looking, but it looks like it's what it's supposed to be. So divide by minus 3, divide by minus 3. B will equal 5 over minus 3. Let's write him down and say that part is done. Now we will do this again, but now we're going to do it with 2. So we'll have 5 brackets squared with a 2 put in here. I'm looking at my main equation right here. This is, in case you've gotten lost in here, this is the important guy, this big green box. So we're putting 2 into there. And if we put 2 into here, 2 minus 2 is going to be 0, and it's going to wipe out all of that. 2 minus 2 is going to be 0 here, and 0 times b is going to be 0, so I don't have to write any of these 2 because they're all going to be 0. So that's then going to leave me with a yellow C. And 2, let's see, yellow C plus 1 squared, and then we're going to put a pink 2 in there, right there, a pink 2. And that's going to do, what's that going to do for us? Okay, 2 squared is 4 times 5 is 20. And then this is going to be 3 squared makes 9. So 9c divided by 9. And divide here by 9. So we're going to get c equals 20 over 9. And before we go any further, looks like we still need to calculate a. Before I do that, though, I want to see what the directions say. I've forgotten. Express this as a sum of partial fractions. Okay, well, we need to find a. How are we going to find a? We've chosen to let x equal 2. We've chosen to let x equal minus 1. In the previous video, I did comparing of coefficients. In this video, I'd like to do something a little bit different just to provide some variety. Let's do something a little interesting here, and let's pick a number that's nice. It won't do any canceling up here, but it's still a really nice number. It's x equals 0. Because this thing up here, this green box, is true for all x values, so we can choose x equals 0, and I'm choosing that because that's a nice number. It's easy to work with. So over here, when I stick in the 0, 0 squared is 0 times 5 is going to be 0. So I guess you could say that's going to cancel. So there I have 0 equals something. Now I come to a. I'm going to write down my a. It's 5 over negative 3. And then in these brackets here, I have 2 sets of brackets. I'm putting in 0. So it's going to be, in fact, I don't even need to do the 2 sets of zeros. We're going to do this mentally. When I stick a 0 in there, that's going to be 1. And when I stick a 0 in there, that's going to be negative 2. So 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So we're just going to multiply this guy by negative 2. Then I'm going to have plus the b portion. Ooh, that was not right. I shouldn't have put that in there. Let's go back a little bit. Because a is not 5 over 3. We don't know what a is. A times negative 2. That's what we just calculated, the negative 2 part. Now, when I put plus, I'm going to do the b part, which is minus 5 over 3, or 5 over minus 3. And when I put 0 into here, putting 0 into there is also going to give me a negative 2. And then c is 20 over 9. And when I put a 0 into here, 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So that's just a 1 right there. So now I just got to solve this equation, and I'll find out what a is. But before I do that, let me just say again what I did. I put the c in, I put the b in, and I chose a nice number, and I stuck it in. Nobody canceled, really, but it's not going to be too difficult of a problem to work with at this point, hopefully. So 0 equals negative 2a plus, what's this going to be? This is going to be 10 over 3, because that's really like that. So that's going to be, those negatives will cancel, and we'll have 10 over 3 plus 20 over 9. Oh, I hate fractions. What do we have to do with fractions all the time here? All right, well, look, remember what we did up here to get rid of these fractions? We multiplied by something that would cancel out all the fractions. Let's do that same thing right here. What can we multiply both sides by that will cancel out all these fractions? And the answer is 9. The answer is 9. So let's multiply both sides by 9. 0 times 9, 0. 9 times negative 2a is negative 18a. 9 times 10 over 3 is 90 over 3. It's really 9 over 1. That's 90 over 3, which is 30. And this 9 and that 9 will essentially cancel each other out, because what I'm doing is this. and that'll leave me with plus 20. So I'm going to say that that's a 50, and I'm going to move that 50 to the other side. So I'll have minus 50 equals minus 18a. We can divide by minus 18, divide by minus 18, and I'm going to get a is equal to, let's not put that right there. Let's put a here is equal to, if I divide those both in half, that's going to give me 25 over 9, and the negatives will cancel. All right, now we are ready for our final answer. We're going to put our final answer right in here, and we need to recognize that the form of the final answer is going to be this yellow stuff right here. So we have x plus 1 squared, and x minus 2. So we have something over x plus 1, something over x plus 1 squared, and something else over x minus 2. I think it was x minus 2. Over, yeah, x minus 2. Okay, so what are our somethings? Well, this is the a piece right here. So we're going to have 25 over 9 right there. The b piece, we're going to have 5 over negative 3 right there. And the c piece, we're going to have 20 over 9. So this will be our final answer. If you found this video useful, go ahead and subscribe in the top left, and then head on over to majohnminds.com to check out more videos and resources.